what happens is we tend to get so busy looking internally within our own internal issues, we don't try and see the larger picture and how that's actually going to impact our daily lives and perhaps our own sovereignty and our own security. So the Shaksgam Valley and what the dragon is doing on the one hand, and what our pesky neighbors are doing. There is a rise in radicalism, and of course this gentleman, POTUS, who's weaponizing trade like no other president has ever done before or no other leader has ever done before, perhaps, and openly bulldozing through nations, toppling regimes, elected governments are being reset. All of that is happening, perhaps on somebody's whim, or is there a greater game? Amidst all of this, where is Bharat? So Bharat today finds itself navigating an unusually complex strategic moment where economic pressure, nuclear instability in its neighborhood, and shifting global power blocks intersect, each pulling New Delhi in different directions. The return of an aggressive US tariff politics under Donald Trump sharpens Bharat's trade dilemma. While the US remains a critical export market, technology partner and strategic ally against China, protectionist measures threaten Bharat's manufacturing ambitions, IT services and pharmaceutical exports. Retaliation risks damaging a vital relationship. Yet accommodation risks domestic economic and political costs. Now that there could be a possible escalation to 50% tariffs over purchase of Russian oil. Simultaneously, Pakistan's evolving nuclear rent program, where Islamabad is leveraging its nuclear arsenal to extract financial, military and diplomatic support from allies such as China and sympathetic Gulf actors, poses a persistent security challenge for Bharat. Now, this model emboldens proxy conflict under nuclear umbrella and constrains Bharat's conventional response options, forcing New Delhi to invest heavily in deterrence, missile defense and crisis management while avoiding escalation. Now, overlaying these pressures is a growing Western skepticism and opposition towards BRICS, whose logo was unveiled earlier in the day by the External Affairs Minister. And this is being seen, BRICS is being seen increasingly as a platform challenging dollar dominance and Western-led institutions. Bharat's participation in BRICS enhances its global influence and voice for Global South, yet risks friction with Western partners who remain crucial for capital technology, security cooperation. The result is a delicate balancing act. Bharat must defend strategic autonomy without sliding into isolation, deepen ties with the West without becoming subordinate, engage BRICS without endorsing anti-Western postures, and counter Pakistan firmly without triggering instability. This is a challenging time, but what are the options going forward as Bharat links or tinkers with calibrated diplomacy, diversified trade partnership, issue-based alliances, and sustained economic resilience? Oh, this is a big challenge, viewers, and especially on a day when Ashwini Vaishnavji is in the US to be part of Pax Silica again for rare earths, and which is important for us to surge into the future, be it our semiconductor technology, be it chip manufacturing for cars, electronics, etc., EVs, wherever, even for spaceships, drones, everywhere we need these rare earths. And is that the fight? Two big hegemons, America on the one hand, China on the other hand, trying to corner this market. And who are we going to engage with? How are we going to walk this tightrope? Ambassador Deepak Vora with us. Akhil Swami continues to stay on. Brahma Chilani and Tara Karta with us. Namaste, Jai Hind. Thank you for staying on. And Deepak Vora ji, welcome on this edition of The Right Stand. We're doing some very plain speak here on this edition, calling a spade, taking the right stand in the interest of Bharat, like we've vowed to do here on this show. So my first question to you is, what kind of strategic autonomy will we be able to follow in this kind of a scenario?
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here. I see Dr. Karta, I see all our other colleagues, Professor Chaleni, etc. Their combined knowledge is a million times greater than mine. Nevertheless, so what is the difference between autonomy and strategic autonomy? I've never understood. Autonomy means I decide what I want. Strategic autonomy means I decide what the other fellow wants. I have no idea. I mean, I'd be happy to be educated. Now, you've talked about all these tariffs that a fellow called Donald Trump has imposed on countries that trade with Iran. So naturally, he's going to Sazimut, all directions, as the French say. He's going to clobber them in the next 24 hours. He's using this, he's using that. He's going to do what he wants to do, what he has set out to do. How do we navigate it? We navigate it exactly as we've done so far. We haven't bent before him. Has he hurt us badly? I don't think so. I just heard in the previous discussion, General Saab was talking about, and you said very rightly that we've occupied some of their territory, they've occupied some of ours, etc. Sir, may I just say something? Ashwini Vaishnav has gone there? Right. If you've heard of a chap called Kautilya, also known as Chanakya, he has said that if you have an adversary, keep lines of communication open. That enables you to assess his strengths, assess his weaknesses, enables you to buy time so that when you have to negotiate, you do it from a position of strength. What this man said 2,400 years ago is totally valid today. That's what we are trained in. Why go into an all out confrontation? I won't talk to you. So I think we are taking the right steps. Wherever we can agree, we build bridges. We strengthen the existing bridges. Where we disagree, we say, all right, guys, we'll talk about this later, put it on the back burner. That has been our very successful foreign policy. And I'm proud to say that I've been part of that for many, many years.
But has it really kept us secure? Because right now we find ourselves surrounded by on all sides, and then there is a radical Muniristan that is renting its nukes. There is a radical rise on the eastern side with the Bangladeshis ambassadors up, and then we have Trump threatening not just 25% to doing business with Iran, but he's perhaps waking up on whichever side of the bed and deciding, oh, this is the country where I want to topple regimes now. So Venezuela done, Iran done, Bangladesh done, Nepal done. It's like ticking boxes. So what is going to happen with Bharat? And where does Bharat steer in this case? Especially when we also have a dragon trying to build roads on our sovereign territory. So I'm just saying, it looks quite gloomy when I say it like that. Not that there aren't some bright spots and some things that we are doing very, very well. But these are concerns. Shatrubodh is something we need to have, Ambassador.
Nobody disagrees with what you've said. Of course, we are alert. But to sit and beat our chests and say, ye kya ho gaya, tere pyar mein, we don't do that anymore, sir. We're just too strong. You have to listen to what the Prime Minister says. You have to listen to what our people say. Who? Bangladesh is going to attack us? A couple of my battalions from Sikh Light Infantry and I'll beat the hell out of these guys. No, we're not going into kinetic action. So take it from me, sir. We're just waiting for those countries to collapse, but we keep our lines of communication open. That's the best strategy in these circumstances. With Russia, with China, with whoever, the Chinese fellows came, we shook hands, we had, I don't know whether we had mouth eye or whatever we did, but we said, all right, buddy, let's talk to you, etc. So this is a question of buying time. You're waiting to see how things pan out. I don't know. I can't predict. All I can predict is the next 24 hours, Shri Ali Khamenei will be history. That is all the indications now. Yet we are keeping our communication open with them. We have 1.5 billion or 2 billion or $1 billion worth of trade we've had with Iran in 2025, something like that. So it's important, sir, that we continue to engage with everybody. Keep our friends close, keep our enemies even closer.
Ji. Ramaji?
What are you asking me, Anand?
I'm asking you, how is Bharat going to keep itself secure in a scenario like this? We tend to focus too much within when we don't look without, because it's all coming from the outside, right? Pressures from all sides. How do we continue to steer a path where we are able to maintain and uphold our interests above perhaps other forces who are pushing their interests?
Well, let's look at India's strengths. India's strengths, the first is that India is a dynamic economy. It's the fastest growing major economy in the world. Second, even American analysts are calling India the ultimate swing state. The state that can decide the global balance of power. Whichever way India swings will make a material difference to the global balance of power. These are two very important assets of India that India ought to utilize. India is a power by itself. India can never be isolated. India represents more than 18% of humanity.
Yeah.
So India is a world by itself. And even though we are worried about tariffs and trade coercion, and we are now entering into FTAs, free trade agreements with various countries, even though we are an import-dependent country, we're not an export-oriented economy. Unlike most major economies that are export-oriented, India is an economy that relies on domestic consumption for its growth.
Yeah.
As I said, we are a world by itself. We cannot be harmed tangibly by the weaponization of tariffs. We have borne 50% tariffs that Trump imposed for 6 months. Has that materially affected our economic growth? No. So I think we ought to be cognizant of our resilience, and we need to be a little more assertive
Right.
about advancing our own interests, both regionally and globally. Regionally, I think the situation has gone from bad to worse, and we need to recognize that India is losing its clout in its own strategic backyard. That is terrible because we cannot change the geography.
Correct.
We have to reclaim our leverage in our immediate neighborhoods. It has to be on a priority basis. Even Nepal, we were caught by surprise by the political upheaval in Nepal. And I think that it all calls for reflection as to how we can rebuild our influence and our power in our own region. Otherwise, we'll get hemmed in.
Right.
We will have hostile forces doing what they did, for example, in Bangladesh, or what they're doing now somewhere else, like in Myanmar.
Fair point.
These efforts of hostile powers, or powers that pretend to be friendly toward India, and yet they engage in activities that are designed to keep India boxed in. To deal with these designs, we need to be somewhat proactive.
Right. Right. Akhil Swamiji?
See, I wished we had a leader like Indira Gandhi who had trying to catch the bull by the horn. We are under threat from Bangladesh. The Hindus are being killed there. Nepal is showing our territory as part of Nepal. China is claiming our territory. Pakistan is sending drones. America is threatening us. और हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री डमरू बजा रहे हैं. रोम जल रहा है और वो बांसुरी बजा रहे हैं, वो डमरू बजा रहे हैं. और my sentiments, Sanatani sentiments were hurt so badly when Bajrang Bali was flown in a kite and the Prime Minister flying Hanuman Ji, Bajrang Bali. So my sentiments are being hurt. We are surrounded by enemies. Every neighbor is an enemy. Russian oil we have stopped buying. Who is America to tell us as to from where to buy oil and why not to buy oil or national interest? And the America is putting the highest tariff on us when the thugs of Bharatiya Janata Party had yagyas and bhajans, and they said that they are the biggest, Trump is the biggest Sanatani.
Right.
So we are totally isolated. I am so sad that my Prime Minister वहां पे जाके सोमनाथ के अंदर डमरू बजा रहे हैं और महादेव की कहीं फोटो नहीं है. महादेव की फोटो नहीं है. जीप के आगे भी मोदी जी की 3 फोटो हैं, ऊपर भी फोटो हैं और ऊपर मोदी जी खड़े हुए. अरे क्यों ऐसे डमरू बजा रहे हैं भैया? देश की रक्षा कीजिए.
I don't want to be drawn. There is so much that I would like to say, Akhil Swamiji, but I have paucity of time. So Tara Karta ji, how would you want to say? Are we in a position to keep ourselves secure? You're on mute, Taraji. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I just was remembering, like when we did the nuclear tests and I was in Geneva, and the way I got abused, I got actually abused, right? So we weathered that. Tariffs, serious, but I think what Brahma says is right. We will weather it because unlike China, we're not export oriented. But I also agree with him that the neighborhood is getting very dangerous.
Yes.
I think recent thing is that Turkey is now joining the whole Saudi. That's the talk which is going on, the Saudi-Pakistan alliance of, the Turkey also wants to join. And I don't know who is pushing this. I'm not sure. I mean, it could be China, it could be the US. At the moment, I don't know whose side who is on. And that is very puzzling, So
I think, I'm sorry, I have to cut you there, ma'am, but I think everybody is reworking their options because nobody knows what's going to happen in the next decade and a half, because only one thing is sure, there's going to be flux. There's going to be a lot of change, and there is a reset in global order. And I think a lot of people who are gazing into the future are pointing in that direction. I thank you all. I have to